I'm going to hit start record. This is my process on how I convert a FSX sound system into WWise for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now that everyone else, that intro is for everyone else. Now we can get down to what we're doing here. Okay, so I guess the first thing is WWise, and with that, we've got to make sure that we download the right version. In here, is it developer mode, external asset creation, under sounds, it does tell us here that we need 2019.2.5 build 7349, and in the WWise launcher we need to add the Soundseed Air and Convolution plugins, because they're both used for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Once you've got WWise installed, make sure that you've got the Microsoft Flight Simulator SDK installed as well, because what you're going to do is, actually what I'll do is I'll start that from the beginning. So if I open up WWise here, I've got a direct link on my desktop there. We need to open that SDK. Now I've actually moved the sample project out of the SDK folder and into my own project folder. So I'm just going to open that up. The reason why we're working with their project is it lays everything out for us, and it includes at least 2 samples that we can, sample templates that we can copy. Yeah, that's correct. That's what that is. Yeah, correct, because that lays everything up. All right. Um, uh, all right. So Momo, I'm just going to mute you there, mate. I don't know what you've got coming in through the background, but it's just overriding everything. So I'll just mute you for a moment, and once you sort that out, I'll unmute you. Yeah. So if you downloaded the DA62 example as well, you'll have that in there. So this is really good because it's a twin engine. So if I just open these up, you'll see that we've got a event in here for engine 1 and for engine 2. So if you're doing a 4 engine, you can just duplicate that and rename it appropriately. Now with the Goose, because it is a twin engine, I actually copied the DA62 and used that as a base. When you do copy a template though, so if I go here, right click, I go copy, and then on the master I go paste. All right, it comes up here, it says copy and add, and it'll give it a new name, so DA62 aircraft underscore 01. And then as we go through and we open these, because ultimately, open that a little bit more, the names down here need to be unique. So if I open this up, engine 1 left combustion inside. Oh, it hasn't done it for some reason. What I had to do was, well, maybe it's down in a different area. Yeah, okay. So see in here, it's no, that's not it. Well, when I copied it, I had to spend a lot of time going through and renaming everything. Oh, it's in events. That's why. Sorry. Okay. So looking at the WWise interface, there's 3 main areas that we're going to be looking at. There's the audio, which is the raw files and how we're mixing those. And then there are events, which is what the sim is going to call. The sim will call an event, and then the event processes the audio that we've got linked. So with an event, because of that, we can actually link to a separate audio. So we could have the same audio serving multiple events. So you'll see here, I've clicked on alternator switch off, and over here it says play light switch off. So that's the audio over here that is in instruments. Let's actually just go into the goose. Instruments light switch off, right? So it's going to play that sound. Now this sound is actually an array of sounds, so we can have multiples and it will just choose randomly. So that gives us a nice little bit of difference in the sound there. So we can have this one source audio being used for multiple events. So we've got switch off, switch on uses light switch on, avionics on uses light switch on, right? So that's the difference between an event and an audio. And then we have a sound bank, and the sound bank is for the aircraft overall. Okay, so I have my master bank here called big radials, and then in here I have the individual sound banks. Now when we're working with sound banks, we need to use a different layout. So I'll go to the sound bank layout. Now the shortcut there is F7. So the three shortcuts that will bounce between is F5, F6 and F7. So F7 is for our sound banks, F5 is our normal setup where we're doing everything, and F6 is profiler, and that's when we're actually debugging the sounds by connecting it to the sim. Now, in order for profiler to work, you've got to make sure that you've got the right version of WWise installed, otherwise it won't connect to Flight Sim. All right, so over here in the sound bank, I created two sound banks here for the aircraft and then the AI. Now you'll notice here that there is a pattern. Big radials, name of my company, Goose, the name of the aircraft, and then underscore AI for the AI and no suffix for the base one. And what we do with these sound banks is, if we have a look in here, we've got a hierarchy inclusion. Events, aircraft, aircraft-wise data, aircraft player, big radials Goose, so events, right, aircrafts, aircraft WWise data, aircraft player. So we've got an aircraft AI and an aircraft player. So if we have a look at the Goose underscore AI, it uses the events from aircraft AI, big Goose AI. And then for big radials Goose, it grabs this one. So what we do is after we've created this sound bank of events, we drag that in here, and the sound bank is how you export, how you organize exporting. Okay, so going back to, how you going, Mike? All right, Momo, I'm going to unmute you, so hopefully you've sorted out your background noise. There we go, fantastic. Thanks for that, mate. Alrighty, so the first thing that we need to do, as I said, is we need to make the template for our audio events. We need to make the template for our audio, template for our audio events. Now, typically I will do that by, as I said, copying one of the SDK templates there and renaming them. Now, the important thing with the naming, it doesn't matter so much with the audio. It make sure that you've got the master named appropriately, but it does 100% matter with events, because the way that it will work is, you see this play underscore big radials Goose underscore engine 1 combustion. So the way that this is broken up is that there are three sections here. So we've got the first section, play, and we've got big radials Goose, and then we've got engine 1 combustion. This relates to our sound XML. So if I go in here and I open up the sound XML, you'll see that I have a main package here. The name here is the bit in between play and engine one. That's really important. Yeah, the sound vector. Correct. That's correct. Yeah, 100%. All right. So the next part is this section here, and that relates to the event that we're calling here. So we've got WWise event center touchdown. So if I define an event in my XML, the event has to be named in WWise play underscore. Let's get my naming terminology correct. Main package underscore WWise event. All right. So if we have a look here for combustion, I should have in WWise I should have play underscore big radials goose underscore combustion as an event. So we have play underscore big radials goose underscore combustion. Now you'll see here that there is a ENG1. That is because we have, or is this going to, right, so this is a single engine, or is it, no, here we go, engine index 1. Now it knows that because we've supplied the engine index value on this event, that it is going to have a prefix of engine ENG value of the engine index, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the name of the WWise event, so ENG 1, because this event is for engine 1. So that way I could define different events in here and have some different controls in there for the different engines. All right. Okay. So yeah, this is a single engine XML, so I'm going to have to update that with duplicating all of these and updating these to have engine index 2. But I'll get to that later. All right, so please, yeah, man, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm. I just manually go through. Well, I actually started from the entire DA62 aircraft, so I just copy, paste, rename. So deep in here somewhere. Oh, okay, so we can just step down that way. Okay. Yeah. 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 Mm. Yeah, this one here. So you got to rename. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so if you're really comfortable with that, with Notepad++ or VS Code and doing those replace, absolutely, that'll save you a bunch of time. But if you're not that familiar, then of course, you just do it in here. F2 to rename, make your changes, go to the next one. A lot slower, but if you're not comfortable with that, then you've got the method that Momo suggested. That's me walking away. Yeah. Yep. 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 And do whatever works. I mean that works perfectly. Yeah. The big thing is, even after renaming all of these events, what you need to do is you need to relink the target as well. So you see, I've just put the mouse over here, and we've got active mixer hierarchy, aircraft WWise data, aircraft player, Big Goose, 3D, blah blah blah. So yeah, if you're doing it through the interface here, you choose the event that you want. You go to the audio tab. You find the audio source that you want. So in this case, we want engine left combustion. Now, really important, don't click and drag over to here and pop it in there, and that will, pardon me, update it. If you click in the audio tab, while you have an event open, it will replace it. So it will show you the audio rather than the event that you're trying to update. All right. Okay, so the next thing to look at, I guess, is having a look at that. I need to move that back. And it was, no, 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 back here, sound project, sound library, and 95. Okay, the next thing to look at is the sound config, because we're going to be converting um, from FSX to WWise. Now I have a license from SkySong Soundworks in order to do this, so we're all good there. Now, having a look at these, starter A1, so engine 1 starter, that's the sound file that we're going to use. So let's just take something simple, right? So we've got the starter sound, G Goose starter left. So if I go back here and we've got G Goose starter left. All right, so that's the WAV file that I'm going to grab, and then yeah, please, yeah, yeah, correct, yep, yep, yep. So with Flight Sim, you can actually use legacy sounds, but you're limited to only those sound events. Whereas with doing WWise, you can do as much sound as you want and custom sound left, right, and center, and all organized, and it's really, really bloody amazing. So all of the things that you would previously have used Doug Dawson's XML sound plugin for, you don't need, because you set that up in Wise. Okay, so we have engine 1 left starter. If I open that up, I've got a inside and an outside. Now this has got all of the DA62 stuff in there. And if I come back into here, now you'll notice this icon here is sort of like a blending icon, that's because this is a blend container. So all of these items here, we're actually blending those, or is it not? Maybe it's not. Oh, because it's doing it individually. Okay. I will show you a better version of a blend. Right, so this is the combustion engine one left inside, and that is fully blended. So you'll see here that we've got those ramping up and ramping down of those different sounds. Now you'll see up here we've got an indicator SynVar general engine RPM. So this is blended based on the current value of the engine RPM for that particular engine. So as it goes from 0 RPM up to a max of 4,000, because the sound's not going to change there, it blends through all of these other sounds, and that's what you use a blend container for. The other way that you can use a blend container is how they've got it here, where rather than overlapping the tracks, they will just play a series of tracks, and then within each individual sound file, it will have different settings. So this one, you'll see that the voice or the volume is dropped all the way down, and there will be other things in here. So this is the positioning, so it's positioning this particular sound using this attenuation, 1500 meter exhaust, aircraft player outside piston, 1500 meters exhaust. So that would tell me that this is probably going to be different attenuation. There you go. So this one is a 10 meter exhaust, attenuation, etc., etc. So RTPC, real time something. Ultimately, what it allows you to do is modify the sound, different properties of the sound. Right. So these are all of the different properties that we can choose from based on a RTPC, which we can set up in another area, but that basically is a link to a variable inside the sim. So in this case here, you'll see that we're actually ramping up the voice volume based on general engine combustion sound percent. So at 0%, it is going to be minus 12 dB, so you basically won't be able to hear it. And then that's going to ramp up all the way to 0 dB, which means that there is no difference to the base volume of that sound file, and that's at 100% of the general engine combustion sound percent. So that's what they're doing there. So rather than layering them all together in a sequence, this is playing all of these at once and then adjusting their sound. So you'll see that as we go down, there's different ones. So this has got a high pass filter on it, and it's adjusting the sound as well. So all different ways of doing it, but we're just going to be doing a really simple version. So I'm going to get rid of all of these, and I want the goose starter left. So goose starter left, and I'm just going to pick it up and drag it into the engine one left starter, and I'm just going to select all the basics there, and there we've got our left starter. So I don't know if you guys heard that, but you see the see it's playing on the right hand side there. Now what we can do now is we can by playing it, we can see what level it's peaking at there. So we can either increase the volume so that it peaks a little bit higher, or drop the volume so that it's not as loud, and all of these other things in there. But I'm just going to do the basics here. I'm just going to drop it in there. So now in this, we'll see that the play mode is a step, so it's going to go through all of these files. We're not doing continuous. The engine one, you'll notice, is continuous, and so that's why it has the blend tracks. But the starter outside is not. Um, so I can do the same thing here for the starter inside. Now with the inside, what we might want to have a look at here is, and same with the other one, we can learn from the way that they've done things. So you'll see here that the volume is slightly louder than the exterior ones. When we were looking at those, what other effects do they have here? So we've got a positioning here inside 3 meter spread 30, so that's a 30-degree cone. And this is 3 meter spread 40, focus 70. Not sure what the focus 70 is. And you got the 3D panning there. Okay, so it looks like this one you'll see that the center is at 0, so that's going to be on the far left. This one is actually in the center channel, and then with engine 2, I'm guessing, so let's just see if my guess is correct here. If I go here, over here, no, it's going to do the same. Oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong about that. Okay, as I said, I'm still learning this as I go through. Yeah. So we could copy that same voice volume adjustment there for this. Now from memory what they did, so I can right click here, I can go copy, I can go to Geegoose, I can go paste, drop that in there. Now from memory with this one they drop that down to -6 or -12, so it's pretty much going to start, and I can get rid of that one so it extends over the whole time, because that's what they did for the externals. So that's a good place to start. Alright, so I've now got that running for my starter. So if I do the same thing here, I'll get rid of both of those. Actually, no. Can I? Yeah, I want to keep them back in here. And go back to my sound, and I'll bring that in again. Now, I'm dragging the WAV file in here again. I don't really need to do that, I've just realized, because I've already got that file in there. So what I can do is I can come over here, I can copy that, and I can paste that in there. All right, and then I can adjust this. So what they're doing is they're doing -2.5, so I'll do the same here. So I'll just move that out of the way so I can select it, -2.5. All right. Now the other thing that they had is under the positioning, I might want to adjust mine, so I can override the parent. And if I do it based on this, let's do it based on this one here. All right, so I want 0 direct positional 100. Okay, so 0 direct positional 100. Then the attenuation is aircraft player inside, aircraft player 3 meter spread focus 70. Okay, so I come here and I go aircraft player inside, aircraft inside spread 40 focus 70. All right, so that's just setting it up like that, and then we've got emitter with automation. Ooh, okay. And so that's positioning that. I wonder if I can actually copy that, because a lot of the stuff you can click on it and copy it. It doesn't look like you can. All right, emitter with automation. This is interesting. I've never actually played with this one before, so I can just slot in between these. So we've got a path name there, so starter path. You know what? I'm not going to go down this path because I'm not that familiar with it, so I'm going to leave it as is. But ultimately, with engines, because it knows that this is for engine 1, I believe that it does actually attach the sound to the engine one location that we've got from the sim. So I'm just going to leave that anyway. So I have now my internal starter sound and my external starter sound. Okay, cool. So that's a basic one, right? So we're just bringing that over, adjusting some RTPC on the individual sound based on the combustion sound percent. All right. What I really want to work on today is I want to work on this engine sounds because this is where the fun begins, so to speak, and this is where the complexity starts coming. Yeah, Mike, you wanted to ask? Nope. Okay, cool. Okay, so into the engine sound. So if we scroll down a bit here, now with FSX up here, we've got engine one combustion. So it's going to start from this profile, and then it's in that profile, we've got the file name, flags, rparams, vparams, and a link there, right? So this link is then going to say, okay, well, I want you to add this other file on in behind it. So ultimately, we'll have a series of these files. So RPM 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are going to be the internal sounds that we're going to be using. So I'll just go and grab those now. So I'll go back to WWise, make sure that I've got my folder there. It was Goose RPM 0123. So left, 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 left. Okay, it's got a left hold there. I don't know what that one is. I'm just going to grab those, chuck them into here, and I'm going to go import. And there's my 4 sounds in there. Now that I've got these sounds in here, over on the right hand side here, when I've selected my my inside track, what I'm going to do too, I'm just going to remove that. I'm just going to go combustion. I don't know what that at 420.422 is, but typically it's that. Okay, so in here, because this is a blend container, and because we're doing continuous mode, we can see the blend tracks there. The tracks that are used here. Sorry, what was that, Mike? Yeah. All right, Mike, I'm going to mute you. All right. Sorry, Mike, but I'll turn you back on later once you sort out your sound issues. Okay, so again, this is a blend file. We're doing continuous. The way that we get the tracks into here to blend is by listing them over here in the blend track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all of these. So I just select them and delete them. And then I'm going to grab my Goose RPM and I just drop them in here, making sure that I highlight this. Okay, so let's reorganize them. Drag that one down the bottom where it belongs, so it should be 1, 2, 3, 4. And now in here I have my 1, my 2, my 3, and my 4. Now how... Mm, mm. No, I don't, because I'm working from an FSX sound kit, but that's where the V params and the R params come in. Right, so if we have a look here, now I've got to remember um, how I did this. What am I? Yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely. You can do it by ear, but all of that is actually laid out for us here in the sound file. Um, so I just need to quickly bring up the. What was the link that I gave you the other day, mate? I gave you the MSFS. Sorry, the FSX one. So if we go to MSFS, actually, I might just go to our conversation. Oh, where did I put that? No, I'm gonna have to find it. That audio. That's what it was, and it was in here, and that's the link there. All right, so this is just laying it out for us. So the rparams defines the sound pitch envelope, representing the sound's relative pitch and invariably the playback speed as a function of the generic value from 0 to 1. Each pair of values single point, you can use up 2 points. Right, so that's our pitch. So rparams are our pitch. So I'll just make a little comment in here. Rparam equals pitch. Right, and then you've got our vparams, which is the amplitude. So that's going to be the volume. Vparam amplitude. Okay, so what we see here is that we've got, so this is percent over 100. So for this first one, we have from starting at 0 and then going to 4. Is that how I was reading it? Each pair specifies value rparams. Format behavior rparams similar to vparams, set that the second value of each point represents the pitch scalar. Or is it the vparams that we use? Yeah, no, that is the volume. Yeah, so that's adjusting the volume. This is adjusting the pitch. Because when we go to the next one, we can see where they blend in from. All right, so we've got that there. Okay, so at 32%, it's going to be down at 0. So when we're looking at the map in here, so we've got the crossfade volume, right? So volume up to 100%. So by the time it reaches 32% of max RPM, so let's just quickly check in our engines config for our max rated RPM is 2300. So I think it can actually go to 2500. So what I will do here, so 2500 divided by 0.3, right, is 750. So I know that this is going to go from 0 to 750. So I can just drag that back, set that to 750, because in here it says that at 0.322 it is going to be at 0 volume. So that's going to be my crossfade point. All right. And it's going to start dropping off after the 0.049. So it's a pretty sharp drop off. Where we see that is actually in here though, in the next one. So an RPM 2. So it's going to start around about the same and slowly ramp up. And then by 59%, it's going to be zero. So so at 5%, so 2500 by 105, so that's 125 RPM is going to be the start point for our next one. So I click on it, 125 RPM. Now you see that we've already got the ramps coming in there. Okay, and then in here it was at 59%. It's going to be at zero. So 2500 by 0.59 is 1475. So going back to WWise, I click on the end here, and so that gives me the coordinate 1475. Okay, then I've got the next one. So okay, so this is going to start at 21.5%. So 2500 by 0.215 is that. So that's where we're going to start. And it's going to drop off at 0.917. So 2500 times 0.917 is 2292. Coming back here, clicking on the end there, 2292. And then for our final one, okay, so it's going to continue on, right, from there at 100%. It doesn't have a drop off because this is the final one, but it is going to start at 60.2. So 2500 times 0.602, 1505. Going back into WWise, clicking on my last one, 1505. What's up? Awesome, awesome, cool. Yep, you're good. So you can unmute yourself and then chat away. One good thing to do in situations like this where you might have a noisy background is to set a push to talk so that we don't actually pick up the exterior sound, and then when you do want to talk, you press a button. So Mike, I've unmuted you, but you're still muted yourself. So if you unmute at your side. No, you sent me. You sent me. Yeah, yeah. Volume. Yeah, 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 yeah. So no, the left-hand side is percent max RPM, but as over 100%. So it's 0.62602 rather than 60.2%. The right the right hand pair is the volume percent, and that is just straight percent. So that's 0 to 100. Cool. No worries, man. All right. So I just extend that out to something that I know that my engine is not going to go past with a little bit of overhead there. So now, if I put my SimVar back here, press space, I should, yes, okay, so I can see that that's playing, but I'm not getting any audio there. Now, I think I'm not getting any audio there because it's going out through the wrong thing. So, there we go. Okay, so there's my files all mixed. Now, it's sounding a bit off, and that's because the pitch is all wrong. All right. The reason why the pitch is all wrong is because in here we have where is it? There is a pitch envelope in here. Yeah. So this is the pitch envelope for this the thing overall. So what I typically do is I'll remove that. So now when I come in here and right, it actually sounds correct now. So RTPCs, engine, right? So you see it's blending through all the different files now. So if I come back here and open up that blend track, yeah, yeah. So in here, so if I press space, that'll just play it, and then if you click on the RTPCs, you can adjust any of these that are going to adjust the value of any of these that are going to adjust any of these RTPCs that we've got set up. Mm, yeah, yeah. All right. Now, yeah, yeah. Oh shit! I forgot to. No, I am recording. Okay, that's good. Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, that's how I set up an engine. So now that I've done that, if we go back and we have a look at these ones, that because they're blended, they don't really have a lot of extra stuff on it, because that's going to be done here. But one thing that you will notice, and it's easy to see if we're having a look at the group here, is that we have a voice volume and a voice pitch. Typically, the way that they will do the sounds is that they will have a single file for that sound, and then they've got an Excel sheet that I can share with you guys to calculate what the vocal pitch down or up should be relative. Now it looks like here that their bass sound is 25, 28. So I'm going to assume that's at 2500 RPM, what that was recorded for. And then as they step down to 2200 and 1800 and 1500 and 1100, you'll notice that the pitch changes there. And as they step up to 3800, they shift the pitch again and increase the volume as they're going there. So we can do similar things with these. Typically we don't touch the pitch because a lot of that has already been done for us, because these files are separately done and are meant to be for that range. But we do I haven't quite figured out the best way to do it, but these rparams are for adjusting the pitch based on that percentage of RPM. So this one should by the time it reaches 1, it should be pitched up 0.32 above. Same for this one, but at 0.45 it should be pitched down a little bit, so it'll have a slight ramp to it. So what we could do is we could actually do that in the RTPC. We could do voice pitch, and we could do that based off engine, no, where is it? Simva engine prop, is it prop RPM? What is it? Engine, general engine RPM. All right, so the only thing is that the pitch envelope, you kind of got to guess yourself, because the values that they use don't equate to the values that they're using here. But if we have a look back at the documentation, I'm pretty sure represents a pitch scaler. A value of 1 specifies that the sound file is played at unity pitch. Value of 2 specifies the file is played at octave higher and twice as fast. So however that is represented here with this voice pitch, this is where Momo, you would have to do it kind of by ear. But we can double click on here to add a point. So I'm going to add, actually I'm not going to do it here, I'm going to cut it from here because I don't want it on the combustion 1 engine, I want it on here. So for RPM 1, so that's combustion 1, so basically from the start it's going to be 10% lower. Okay, so we could drop this. Now I don't know what this is going to be, but I'm just going to say about there. And then around about halfway, so 0.468, so 2500 by 0.468 is at 1170. So if I come back into here and if I click on this at 1170, so that sets my X position, it is going to be 12% above. All right, so I know that 0 is my unity, so 12% above, maybe something like that. So as I go through, let's see, we've got that pitch up. Now we're losing the volume there because that's blended to go down at that point. Okay, so that's how we can set that. So if I copy that now, and if we go to this one, paste it in, we're going from 0.45 at 978. All right, so I will add another point in there, and 2500 by 0.45 is 1125. So at 1125, it's going to be maybe there, right? And that's at unity there. So let's just say minus 150. I'm using some arbitrary values here because we can come back and remix this later, but it's important just to get those main points in. And then what are we saying here? We're saying at 1, so at maximum 2500, it's going to be 30% above. All right, so I can move this to 2500. All right. And we said that so that's going to be higher than that one. So it's going to be maybe there. All right, and we'll set the. I don't know. Did you download anything when you loaded the sim? Magic. Magic. No. Nope. Not that I've seen. Yeah, we should be used to it by now. Okay, so with what are we on here? What file are we doing? We're doing RPM3. So RPM3. Oh, I skipped one. I've got to go back and do RPM2 because I did RPM3 for RPM2. All right. So what I will do, I'll copy that. Delete. Oh shit. Make sure that you've got the right thing selected before you go and delete stuff. All right, so RPM2. It has not changed. It will not change. Yeah, will not change. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's actually they've got to do a lot of back end stuff in order to move over to a new version of Wise. So that's typically why you won't change the SDK for your sound in between, unless you're doing a lot of work. And there is a massive reason to move to that new version. All right, so 0.032, so at 3%. So at 75, it's going to be at 89. So so what did we say this was? That's meant to be 9.6, so it's going to be below that slightly. What did we say that was? Said it was 470. All right, so let's just say that this is minus 500. Now, I'm sure if we look up the docs for this, it will actually tell us what this pitch scale is, and I probably should do that at some point, but this will do for the interim. So 468, we're going to 122. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you can convert that to something meaningful. Okay, cool. So 1,200 cents. Ooh, okay. Well, let's write this down. Yeah, correct. Hallelujah. Right. Okay, cool. So we can actually really go back with this now. So we can say that 1,200. So where's our calculator? That's awesome. So 1,200 times 0.966, right, is no. Well, what? Is that right? Yes, that's right. Um, yeah, so minus 1,200. That's what I want. So I want to. That's what I want there. So this one should be. What did I do there? What did I do there? Okay, minus 40. Right. Only takes whole values. Cool. So minus 40. That's awesome. That's really cool. Okay, so pieces are coming together here. So at 1.176, so we want 1200 by 1.176 minus 1200 is 211. So this point here is going to be 211. Champion, look at you go. Right, and this is going to be at 25%, so it's no way going to be all the way up there. So 2500 by 0.25, that's 625. 625. And that's 211. Awesome. So there we go. I love this. Learning together. This is what Think Tank's all about. So the pitch scale is in cents. There's 1200 cents to an octave. Based on this, a value of 1 specifies unity or 0, and a value of 2 specifies that it is an octave higher. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. Right. So we can really dial this in so that it should be almost exactly the same as what it was in Flight Sim. Hello, puppy. Sorry, I got my big black dog here. I'll put the desk down so that you can have a look at the big black pupper. Up, up. There we go. This is my big black puppy. Yeah, she's a 2-year-old Newfoundland. All right. Yeah, yeah. 50 kilos. 50 kilos. This is what a dog is, right? A dog that you can give a proper hug to. Hey, puppy. Yeah. All right, Bubba, hop down. She is gorgeous. She's telling me that she wants to go outside and PLAY. Because, yeah, it's time, Daddy. It's time to go outside and PLAY. But no, you're going to have to wait. Wait. Alrighty. Once I've done this, then we can go outside. Okay, so cool. Let's get back into this. So with this newfound knowledge, we've unlocked something here. So this next part is 2500 by 0.032. So that's starting at 80. So let's get that into position first. So that's starting at 80. And then the cent value is going to be 1200 by 0.891 minus 1200 is going to be minus 130. So this value over here is going to be minus 130. So we'll make sure that our zero value is also minus 130. Cool. And then the next value is 46%. So 2500 by 0.468. So that's 1170. That one there. And the cent value is going to be 1.122. So we get our calculator again and we go 1200 by 1.122 minus 1200 is an increase of 146. Look at that. Now we're right on the money. Love it. All right. We make sure that our top value is the same. So 146. So it goes all the way through. Now the rpm3. Okay, so at 458, so 2500 by 0.458 is 1145. So we're starting here at 1145, and the value is going to be 979. So 1200 times 0.979 equals that minus 1200 is minus 25. Right, so we set our value minus 25 there, set our value here to minus 25, and then at full 2500 it's going to be 1.323. So 1200 times 1.323 minus 1200 is 387. So this is going to be at 2500. It is going to be 387. 387. And make sure that our extended value is the same. 387. Cool. So copy that, pop it into our next one, and where are we here? 68%. So 2500 times 0.681 is 1702. So this one here, and the value is going to be 979, which I think this one had before. Doesn't matter. We'll recalculate it. So 1200 times 0.979 minus 1200 is minus 25. So we're going to start at minus 25. Yep, which we've got in there from before, because it must have been so close to the other one. And we're going up to 132 again, so the same as the other one. So just to confirm, 1200 times 1.32 is 1584 minus 1200 is 384. So in here we'll have 384. So it's slightly shifted down from the other one. 384. Cool. So now we've got the pitch envelopes set for each file based on what we had in the flight sim here for the rparams. And thanks so much there for figuring out the difference between the sense and the pitch. So that's great. We've got our blending set in here based on all of these parameters. So now it should sound a little bit hard to hear any real difference there, so I'm not sure that I've got the right thing selected. Alright, so I can hear something slightly different there. So I think what I need though, see how this is currently sitting at minus 20. What I'll do is I'll go have a look at the DA62 and see what its volume peak is. Then I can adjust the others there. Right, so that should be sitting around about the same. Okay, so we've got the volume about right. Okay, so if I come back here, I should be able to get rid of all of these now. Okay, that's viewpoint. Change that to inside. That's why we couldn't hear anything before. Why? So we should be hearing something in there, but we're not. Because I've gotten rid of those other ones. I've set my viewpoint to be inside. Why am I not hearing any of the others? Curious. Let's play it. Okay, so we've got that sound coming in. Okay, cool. So that sound is also coming in at the right blend. Okay, that's there as well. So Y is, there we go. No? No, because that's getting this other one. I think that's the problem. Ah, so it actually had a step in there. Ah. So it was actually blending between two different um, blend files. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't done a two engine before. I've only done single engine, so they didn't have that set up. So if I have a look at the Newport and the P40, P40 was the first one. So combustion, engine inside, uh, combustion. She loud. Right, so that's right. So combustion inside, and then combustion is just that switch point. So realistically, all we should need is that. You're not going to let me do that. Okay. Have to put it in manually. So this is combustion inside generic, combustion inside generic. We've got to make sure that these buses are set up correctly so it routes the sound to the right area. And we're doing override parent. We're not doing outside the aircraft because this is inside. And there's disto over speed. And this is continuous. Alright. So alright, has something happened to our blend tracks? Yeah, it's like one of them we're not hearing this middle one for some reason. Goose 2. Because that's the ramp up for Goose 3, and then we're not hearing Goose 4 as well. So what the fuck's going on there? What have I done wrong? I've done something wrong here. So let's just stop that. Um, let's just make sure in here we haven't done something stupid. Um, so general engine RPM, so that's fine. Um, I think, did I have to set? Yes, I need to set each one of these as a infinite loop. So each individual sound in the mix needs to be an infinite loop. There we go. Huh. But now we've now we've got sounds 2 and 4, but not 1 and 3. But you can hear that pitch change there that we've put in. So that's good. But for some reason, why are we? Ah, dear. fun and games. So that's loop, loop, loop. Okay, so that's good. Um, all right, where's the close that? I don't need my instruments. So not doing anything there. No conversions, no effects, no positioning, voice pitch, states, advanced settings, nothing. So it's the same with all of these. Yes. Okay. Minus 12. I don't know. Oh, hang on, hang on. This is why, because there's nothing set up for the inside. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, mm, right. So that will at least play the right sound um, in that object there. But it still doesn't solve why I don't need this volume here, so I can get rid of that. So there's something going on with file one. Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Curves are fine. You can see here, right, because we've got the yellow and the blue, right? So the yellow is this file, and the blue is the one in between. So we can see that it ramps up there from zero. And we can see that, no, wait. Yes, I know. Be patient, right? Yeah, and it's at full volume when the other is at zero. So it is the blend is set up there, therefore. And now if I started it the other way, I'm only getting one and three. Okay, so something funky is going on here. No, you can test it from there. No, you can test it from there. Yeah. No, no. What I'm complaining about is it's only playing every other sound. So it's playing the first sound and the third sound, but not the second sound and the fourth sound. That's the funky that I'm talking about. So if I come back in here, yeah, right. So if I go into the blend tracks, right? If I make that a bit louder, longer, so we can see, right? So if I start playing Momo, right? So I've got sound here, and then this first sound is ramping down. Now at this point, I should have the second sound at full volume, but I've got nothing, right? But I'll have the third sound starting to ramp up, which I have now full volume, and the other one is ramped down. So, but then when I go to the RPM 4, I should have full sound on that sound, but I don't for some reason. So, what the fuck? No, it doesn't matter. No, doesn't matter. No, no, that's just showing you the crossfade. No, well, right there. Yeah, I don't know. Hmm. Bonkers. Okay, well, I don't know WTF is going on there. Oh, what's this? Ignore parent limit sound instances. Is that? Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why, because I don't need that playback limit. So if I remove that, because that's not the same as these other ones. So maybe now, yeah, there we go, there we go. That was it. It was, yeah, yeah. That's easy. All right, so you hear that other sound ramping up. So we're now okay. So that's not going out. Mm, mm. It was this playback limit setting. So because of the way that these were set up, and this is set up in a step rather than a continuous, this wasn't set properly. So I just had to remove that. No. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to adjust the master volume to hit that 1920 peak. So we're probably looking at um, yeah, probably about a 3 or a 4. I might pitch it to a 4. All right, so that should be around about the same that we have for the internal combustion here. All right, so their peak, sometimes pushing into the 18. Oh no. Okay, so max peak of around about 15, 16. All right, so that's what we should really be aiming for as well here. So if we go back to 2500 is going to be our that's our max RPM, right? So we should be peaking a bit higher than that. So if we go to so right about there, right about there is good. So as I drop down in the RPM, cool. All right. So thank you. That's setting up a an engine for the inside. Now what we've got to do is got to go and repeat that for the exterior, for the external, and then for the left combustion start, the start propeller, the left prop, the shutdown, etc., etc. All using these settings that we've got in here So we know we've actually learned a great deal today. So the big thing being here that 1200 cents is one octave. So we know that we can multiply 1200 by this value here, and then minus 1200 to get how much we're going to shift up or down for when we're setting the pitch parameter on the individual file, like we did in here in the RTPCs, so voice pitch. So that's setting those two values. And then also in our blend, how we were doing the crossfades based on the, the zero value here and the zero value at the bottom there, and that would set our ramp. We don't really need to worry about the ramp in between because WWise is going to do that for us. We can actually control, just quickly while I'm going on about that, we can control what ramp we want to do. So whether we want to do a logarithmic, sine, S-curve, exponential, however we feel that it works better. I'm just using the default S-curve, but you might want to use something different. So a sine or an exponential, but you don't get that nice rollover on the top. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's why I just leave it at the default S curve. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, so that's the basic principles, and then it's rinse and repeat, and then making sure that we've got the sound XML set up correctly. So that's in here. So what I will need to do is in here make sure that my event in here, engine one combustion, which I've got correct. So I've got an event called combustion. It's engine index one, and I need to pass in what sim bars are going to go to that, to what their RTPC is going to be. But I might cover that another day because my voice is getting a little bit scratchy. So that's an hour and a half. I've I've also got a big black dog down here who wants to go outside and play. So yeah, so it's there's so much more there. That's just scratching the surface. Um, but I think that should be a great starting point for setting things up. Um, oh yeah, awesome. Right. Yeah, it can be tough. I probably will do a couple more of these, Dino, as you're getting more up and got some questions. Just lay it on me and ask, and we can probably work it out together like we did today with the sense and the RPM with the R valves, rparams. That was really great. That was quite the breakthrough. So we can really dial it in now and really make sure that that is converted if we're doing a conversion. I guess the next thing will be a raw setup where we're working from raw files, and that is a lot more by ear, Momo. That's what, well, I said probably one of the next ones that we would do would be a raw, so working with raw, unedited, unset up sound files that we might purchase from an audio technician library, um, and then setting them up. Mm, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sit. Good girl. Just wait. I'm just wrapping up. Okay. All right. Well, have fun. I'm going to go play with my dog, and I will post these up to YouTube unlisted, and I'll pin it in here in the sound. I will stop the recording.